used to do. I don't do no more, for the Lord's made a change in me.
Hello, this is Real History. I am Melissa, and today is the 14th of August, 2025, and I'm joined today by Neil Foster. Good morning, Neil.
Good morning from a warm Florida.
Yes, and a kind of a wetter one maybe this year.
Yeah, definitely. I don't remember getting rained off so much last year as I have been this year. But then again, like we just mentioned offline there, you get rained off by companies that steal your money and it doesn't rain at all.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it goes.
Uh,
So yeah, $90 down this week just because people cancelled.
that's terrible. Yeah, so he was telling me that the people who organize these markets, they'll take a deposit, say it's $50 for
Well,
the
it's not the
event.
deposit. They take
For,
the full amount.
well, yeah,
That's the full amount.
ridiculous.
Yeah. And they just steal it off you.
Uh,
Because they've suddenly become weather forecasters. They must be watching all that global warming stuff going on.
you need to send them packing over to the UK. They can work in the Met Office.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's where they get their info. They're now reporting in the UK that 26 degrees is really hot and dangerous.
Oh,
26 degrees. And as somebody mentioned, something else in the UK, and people are paying $3,000 to take the family to Turkey for 2 weeks, and it's 40 degrees
yeah.
to get away from the bad weather in Britain. Yeah, and
Uh,
that's been going on since since before I was born.
hmm
People used to escape to Spain mainly back then. And Greece, Turkey. I mean, my first holiday was as a 19-year-old to Greece, and it was 50 Celsius,
Yeah.
and the trees were on fire and everything. That was an adventurous holiday for my first one.
I
But,
remember that. I actually remember that event.
well, I think it's happened a couple of times. This would have been 1980. I think. No, I wasn't nine. I was nine. I was 22, 22, 23 maybe. So
Well,
yeah,
I remember
40
one
years
from
ago.
a few years ago that when that happened, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, we were sitting at restaurants, had their canopies up and everything because the ash was falling out of the sky.
Mm.
So yeah. Anyway, by and by. It's hot over there, you know. It's not hot in Britain when it's 26 degrees. That's just a nice summer's day.
hmm So how's
Yeah, that's about as
everything?
hot as it gets.
How's everything else around the house? Do you have anything growing
Well,
this year?
uh, I've just put some tomatoes in the ground. I'll see how they go. But I got rid of the broody chicken. I managed to suss that one out. I just took
Uh,
every fake egg out of the coop, and so she had nothing to sit on.
and then what
So
happened?
24 hours later, she was fine. She was back out. That was it. Done.
Oh, good,
But
good.
none of them are laying now because it's too hot.
hmm
So I need to wait till maybe September, October. They'll start again.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was that problem solved.
good.
Yeah. So nothing much else. Just doing the usual. Cutting the
How,
grass, lawnmower broke down. Had to fix that.
how's Jack?
Jack. He's still puppyish. I took him out the car yesterday and he decided he was going to take a mad run around on his lead and round in circles, just running. And it's just a nut job. But yeah, he's fun.
Good.
Yeah, he's a good dog.
Well, I think I got all of my packages to the various council members. Well, it was all done by
Mhm.
the city secretary, but I think that was about 3 weeks ago. I think it was right
Yeah.
after we last talked that I got all of the packages that I was sure she said, yes, I've done it. And so I give them, it's summertime and everybody's moving kind of slow. So I
Well,
haven't checked back in.
as I mentioned to you, I've now written back 3 times to the guy that said he wanted to talk to me, and I've got no response whatsoever.
Really.
Yeah,
So,
and I sent a copy of a document that's actually on the City of Lake Wales website, critical of Agenda 21.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent that to him. I said, "I'd be, here's somebody in the city has put this document on your website. I'd be very interested to know who that was, so I could maybe speak to them."
Mm-hmm.
And no response to that either. I haven't checked. I wonder if they've taken it down.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, but it was absolutely critical of it, and then saying not in great detail, but telling you what it was. It was only one page. I mean, you could have read it in 2 minutes.
Well, yeah, that would be really interesting if it was still up, if you could find out who posted it, because it's one other sentient mind in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, there was one guy that used to be in there. He isn't anymore, but he was labelled a conspiracy theory. I think he might be put in deliberately just to muddy the waters.
Mm-hmm.
And he was coming out with all sorts of nonsense, and then he was supportive of things that you think, well, hold on a minute, he's complaining about Agenda 21, but he's all for this. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, he voted. He was against certain aspects which were Agenda 21 orientated, and yet he still voted for the connected plan and the other one. So I don't know. Maybe just want to say things that people had said to him so he gets re-elected or something. But he didn't.
Interesting.
That didn't work. But yeah, that's it. So I wasn't really expecting them to get back to me.
No.
And I doubt they'll get back to you either.
Well, there are only a handful of council people in this small town, but I did a little bit of homework to find out that my district representative, because of course, like every other area, they split it up geographically. And so I learned that the one who's over my area, he went to high school with my cousin, who was only a year ahead of me in high school. So, I'll go over there and say, hey, I'm going to put my cousin. They were actually pretty good friends. I think they still may be kind of friendly. So, I'm going to put my cousin. Pardon?
Take him with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you remember me?
Yeah.
Anyway.
So that's it. I will follow up, though. I wanted to give him a little time, but I'll probably follow up in the next week or two because that'll be ample time. I will have given them a month or more to read and watch. Yeah.
Nothing. Anyway.
I'm sure you have too, and you've been around the block on this before, but I've heard from several different listeners who have told me in detail what they did at their council on various issues and what a good old boy network it was. So.
Yeah. I mean, they've got 5 city commissioners here, so it's always going to be a 3-2 vote,
Mm-hmm.
And it always seems to be 2 people that are saying the right things, and of course the other 3 vote yes, they vote no, and nothing changes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a farce.
It is a farce.
Hey, I mean, they're not supposed to be that well paid. They only get I don't know what is $500 a month or something. It's not a lot of money, and but they're there because they just want to do the best for the community. But you find out they end up owning big buildings down city centre, and one of them builds it must be a $1 million plus construction of a church, on city land. And you think, well, yeah, okay, your $500 a month is well worth it if you can get away with that.
Everything is a scam. You see, the corruption it's not top down. It's bottom up.
We wouldn't get away with it.
Yes, everybody, that's the thing. Seems to be the ugly truth about human nature, is that people will do anything they can that they think is to their advantage.
Yeah. I don't think that's the vast majority, though. I think a lot of people sit back and just say, well, that's just the way it is, and there's nothing they can do about it. And
it's definitely the vast majority of people who go in, even at the local level of politics.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's I say it's all of them. I don't
Yeah.
think any of them going there with any honest intention of doing any good.
Yeah.
I think they're just in there for their own sake. That's it.
yeah, yeah,
The pirates. No,
that's
no.
right.
Well, mind you, the pirates were the good guys. But at least pirates shared out what they got amongst their crew and everything. And if one of them, you know, got his leg cut off in a battle or something, the rest of them looked after them. That was part of their policy.
Somebody else carved the peg leg, huh?
Well, no, they still got a share of the booty,
Mm-hmm.
even if they couldn't fight for it.
Yeah.
So they had their own social welfare system.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a kind of the pirates' code type of thing. They all looked after each other,
Yeah.
and even I think to the extent where if somebody was killed or something, they gave something to the family.
Well,
They weren't the bad guys as are portrayed in Hollywood. I mean, the real pirates were Francis Drake and all those characters.
right. Yeah.
They were the real pirates because they were actually called privateers, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Well, privateer, pirate. What's the difference?
Yeah.
And they stole the real value.
No, and that's what we have going on now. I mean, this is
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
yeah.
Yeah. It was I listened to something the other day there. Somebody was talking. I can't. I think maybe Last American Vagabond. I'm not sure. They were talking about how society's changed, and they were talking about the welfare system and stuff, and about why we shouldn't have it. Because if it wasn't there, ordinary people, as they did in the past, would tend to look after their neighbours if they fell in hard times, and that bred a sense of community. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody, oh well, so and so's husband's just died. She's not getting any money. Blah blah. Let's help her out. Things like that. And then you see videos of. I saw one where it was a news report or something, and the lady, husband had either left her or died. I can't remember. And her garden had gone into disrepair, and of course the what do they call them? The homeowners association. I don't know. People outside the States might not know what that is, but it's a gang of clipboard holders who get together and decide that you've got to pay them to look after your neighbourhood, and they can tell you what colour to paint your house and what you've got to cut the grass and all this kind of thing. And people actually pay them to tell you what to do. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that incredible? We don't have one here, and if they ever try and bring it in, we'll leave because we're not doing that. But yeah, and this guy took it upon himself to go around and start mowing the lawn and stuff and tidying the garden up because they were finding this lady because she couldn't look after her garden.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the homeowners association which this lady paid her dues to, and she was getting fined for not having the grass was more than 4 inches tall or something. So this guy went along to help her out, started mowing the lawn, and the cops came along and stopped him, saying he wasn't allowed to do it.
Really?
Yeah. And I've seen other examples of people clearing people's paths of snow and stuff like that because they were elderly, and they were told they couldn't do that either.
Because of some liability thing, or I mean,
Well,
that's outrageous.
It was the cops. I don't know what business is of theirs.
Well, I mean, were they saying that you couldn't do it because you'd be liable for, if you were shoveling snow on somebody else's sidewalk? I mean, that's
I don't think they had any valid reason whatsoever.
Ah.
They just said it wasn't allowed. I think in the case of the lady whose garden it was, I think they said that she wasn't on the property, so he was there for trespassing.
Wow.
Because he hadn't been invited on.
But
the lady wasn't there, so he just went. Well, she's going to get fined. She's going to lose her house or whatever. Because eventually, that's the way it goes: is take your house. And so he decided to take it upon himself and help her out, and he wasn't allowed to. But this again, you've done it before. You tried to give food to people, and you were told you couldn't do it because you're not authorised. Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was with the guy cutting the grass. He says there's people who are paid to do that job, so you're not allowed to do it for free.
Wow.
Something along those lines, anyway.
That's just ridiculous. We live down the block. At the end of the block is my high school English teacher and my high school math teacher, and
Mhm.
they're a lovely couple. And he's got a riding mower. He just loves it. And he goes around up and down the block and he'll mow the lawn for anybody that he thinks has fallen behind on their duty.
Mhm.
And but I mean the truth of it is like my brother will he mows, but in the heat of the summer, you don't really want to get out there. You get out there early in the morning, so you let it go for a while. Well, I think it was a couple of years ago we got a notice from the city saying that if we didn't mow, we were going to get a fine. So he went out and mowed. But anyway, the high school math teacher, he takes his mower out and just goes up and down the block and mows people's lawns. That's very nice. And so one morning, it was kind of early on a Sunday morning, and I heard this mowing, and I'm like, hi. And I look around, and so I went to investigate it, and sure enough, he was out there mowing on our lot.
Mm.
And so my brother went down and was talking to him. He'd already mowed this area around a tree in the front yard. Now, my mom had planted all of these iris bulbs and so forth, and they didn't come in this year because he mowed them down. I mean, it's okay because they'll come back next year. I wasn't,
Yeah.
going to make a big deal out of it. But then my brother said, "Oh well, that's great, thank you." So he said, "Well, I can mow the rest, the back." And my brother said, "No, that's all right. I'll get it done." And we always wave at him if we're walking and he's out and about. And he said, "You need any mowing done?" So he likes it because, he's 75 and
Well,
gives him something to
it's
do.
a social life, eh?
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
well,
But
I was mowing this week. I only got half it done, and the pull cord uh, thing broke. So
uh,
I'll order one of them. And of course, it's taking like 3 days to come, so the grass is getting longer and longer. And it's only half done, so half of it's done and half of it isn't. And you can see it from the road. I'm thinking, oh, that looks terrible. Uh, and eventually, the thing came and I fixed it and got on with it. But I mean, really, this time of year, you don't want to be out there.
no,
It takes me like 2.5 hours to mow our yard, and it's hard work.
it is hard work. And I mean, I've never, you know, I'm never going to nag about that because I certainly don't want to be out there mowing. Like, I
No,
could care less, let the weeds come up.
yeah, yeah. Well,
But oh
eh,
no, the city, I mean, we don't have a homeowners association, but those are really ridiculous for people who don't know. You may have like three choices of a paint for your front door, or you might only have one, and you can't have a certain kind of vegetation growing. Even if you like it, that flower may be the wrong color for the
mhm.
neighborhood, and it
Even
goes
your
on
windows.
and on. That's right. It
You
goes
want to
on
change
and
your
on.
windows? Yeah, you
Oh
do.
yes, absolutely. And down to, I mean, I've heard of things where you have to have a certain look for the window coverings on the inside of the house. So if your
Yeah.
shades aren't right, so they, it could be
So now they're
offensive.
inside your house. Now
Yeah.
they're inside your house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they could be seen from the window. So in other words, you're offending people.
yeah. Well, I think Alan used to talk about these types of people who was maybe ex-civil servants or something who were placed into communities to do this kind of thing, to
Hmm.
just like annoy people, basically.
Yeah.
'Cause that's all they do. I mean, if somebody comes to my door with a clipboard and says, "Oh, you can't do this," you'd be falling down the stairs before you know it. Say, "Oh, you tripped on the stairs there. Oh, sorry about that. Get off the property. You're trespassing."
Yep.
I mean, I don't understand how. I wonder if there's something in the contract you sign that they can come onto your property anytime they want. I wouldn't imagine so. I mean, some of these characters come on your property, so you get off your trespassing. Oh, you want to stay? Okay, I'll just call the cops in. You know, I don't know
And
why anybody would give them. I mean, if you don't, say you've got, I don't know, 200 houses in a homeowners association, and only 100 of them wanted it, or 101 wanted it, right? Democracy, right? What about the other 99 houses who don't want it and don't want to pay for it? They've no choice.
hmm
They're not given a choice. It's called extortion.
hmm
Just like the market traders, right? It's just the same thing. Yeah, give us your money and we'll keep it. Yeah, but I mean, they actually do absolutely nothing for you. Yeah, they'll claim that they're paying contractors to come in and cut the easements that don't belong to you and all that kind of thing. The bits of grass, the little bits of grass that are dotted around the place. When in reality they're hiring the buddies to do it. That's what they're doing.
If they do that, I mean, if you live in a town where that happens, that's great. But n- nothing gets done in this town except for the cops get pay raises
Mhm.
annually. And that's about it. I mean, the potholes, and you're talking about trimming the grass there that grows on the curb or the berm there. And that doesn't happen here. We were walking a few weeks ago, and I made a joke that it seemed to be the goal of the city to let the grass come together on the road. So it's so hypocritical. They'll issue a notice to us and say, we're going to fine you if you don't mow your lawn, but they don't fill the pothole. I mean, I should start a campaign where I'm doing, writing letters to the city saying, I'm going to levy a fine if you don't trim the grass around the curbs of the city
Well, we
streets and fill the potholes.
yeah we're on a corner lot here, and we've had a pothole on the corner of our lot since we came here. And all
Yeah.
they do is they fill it with some gravel, and then I mean, we used to call them in Ireland disposable roads because they last about 10 minutes, and then you potholes back again.
Yeah.
And every year they come round and fill it in. But there's a pothole for 11 months of the year.
Well,
They'll
I
come
was I
round,
was
fill it
complaining
in.
to my brother last week, because it rained really hard and it was flooding everywhere on the streets. And I said, up on Betty's Road, where she lives off of, I said the road floods so badly there that at points it's completely covered over. And I said, I have called the city no less than 7 times, probably closer to 10, but at least 7 times I've called, and I've said politely, here's the address. You need to get up there and clean out the what do they call it? The culvert. It's obviously it's clogged and the water has nowhere to go, and I can show you exactly where it is. It's between such and such a house. And they always politely take down the information. Oh yeah, and I go, it's so I said I've given up. And my brother was then explaining to me how difficult it is. You have to have special equipment to clean the culvert, and I'm like, well, and he said the city probably can't afford to have their own machine, so they have to. I'm like, yeah, no, 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 I'm not feeling sorry for them. So the money that it would cost them to rent the proper equipment to get the job done or hire in a crew to do it is, that's more money for their comptroller's
Well,
salary.
yeah, I don't see how these cities have no money when they're building houses all over the place and collecting property tax and everything.
Absolutely. And I told you, I mean, we've got 400 houses that just went in since I've been back from Canada. And then they've already poured the concrete on 200 more pads, and they've got probably 300 houses in some stage of going up and really rapidly. So that is about 1,000 new homes in the area since I've been back from Canada, and
Well,
that's property taxes. But nope, they can't afford to just do basic maintenance.
yeah, yeah. But somebody's making money. Somebody's getting money out of something.
Yeah,
How can it be? How can it be allowed that? I mean, this goes for like obviously state and federal government, but how can it be allowed that the government, whether it's your city or whatever, puts out a contract for, say, somebody to cut the grass, right? And it's 4 or 5 times what it'd be if it was just an ordinary person going, "I'll cut your grass,"
yeah,
yeah, and they get away with it. Well, that's corruption in itself because they would not pay somebody that amount of money if it was their money, for sure.
right.
And they would not pay it unless they actually knew the person they were giving it to, in my opinion. I don't think they give it to a complete stranger. So again, it's corruption from the top, right?
Uh-huh.
That they're handing out favors to their friends.
Yeah, corruption from the top, corruption from the bottom, because
Hmm.
the little guy sees the game and goes along with it. He plays the
Hmm.
corruption game.
Yeah. and we all pay for it.
Yeah.
But don't dare be 10 cents wrong in your tax return, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You'll have the SWAT team at the door. Yeah. You're officially painted door, of course.
Yeah, that's right.
So, anyway,
Well,
I've got a few actually that are related to Agenda 21, so I kind of grouped them together.
oh, okay. Well, hit me. Hit me with
Okay,
what
well,
you got.
this is a daily record, right? And I think I might have mentioned before, my brother and his wife got all their COVID shots so they could go on holiday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stupid people, and I've told them as such. But this is from a Daily Record, which is a Scottish rag. And Brits could be banned from going on holiday as carbon passports introduced. I bet they're glad they got them now. A new report has suggested, and they go on holiday, I think they're retired now, I think they maybe go 3 or 4 times a year. So that's going to be curtailed for sure. A new report has suggested that Brits could be banned from going on holiday as carbon passports are introduced in a bid to slow down climate change. Now, going on holiday doesn't mean going abroad, right?
Right.
It could be just what do you call them, staycations or something like that. And it shows you, the picture in this article shows 3 planes crisscrossing each other with big chemtrails coming out the back. And it says, and the caption for the picture is, tourism is responsible for a significant part of climate change. And nothing to do with the chemtrails, right? Carbon passports could be introduced to limit the frequency of foreign holidays. Okay, so they're saying foreign here. Well, that's how it'll start. For UK residents as part of efforts to combat climate change. Now, it's interesting it says UK residents. What about all these illegals that can fly back and forward on a whim? They're not residents. Tourism is a significant contributor to climate change, accounting for approximately 1/10 of the greenhouse gas emissions during the crisis. Or driving the crisis, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to get driving in there as well, I guess. Ross Bennett Cook, a visiting lecturer I wonder how he got there, at the University of Westminster, stated the negative impacts of tourism on the environment have become so severe that some are suggesting drastic changes to our travel habits are inevitable. In a report from 2023 that analysed the future of sustainable travel, tour operator Intrepid Travel proposed that carbon passports will soon become a reality if the tourism industry hopes to survive. Now, in the UK, by 2050, they say there's only going to be 3 airports, or 3 or 5 airports left in Britain because of this, apparently. Now, anybody that knows anything about Britain, there must be, I'd say, 50 airports, at least, including the big ones and the smaller regional ones. So they want to take it down to, I think there's 1 in London, 1 in Scotland, and there's only 3 actually, I think. 1 in London, 1 in Belfast, I think it is, in Ireland, and 1 in Scotland, Glasgow. So yeah, 3 airports. Ross explained that the concept of a carbon passport involves assigning each traveller a yearly carbon allowance that they cannot exceed. Now well, if you're assigned a carbon allowance that they cannot exceed, that's going to apply to everything. It's not just your travel.
Exactly.
Known as personal carbon trading. So if you're a very rich person, I guess you can do an Al Gore and just offset your stuff with money.
Yeah.
Yeah, just buy it off of somebody else. Buy it off the poor guy who can't afford to go abroad. Buy his carbon credits. Was debated in the House of Commons. 2008, they debated this.
Really?
In Parliament in Britain. 2008. So now they're coming back with it now. The average annual carbon footprint for a person in the UK is 11.7 tonnes. Over 5 times the figure recommended by the Paris Agreement to keep global temperature rise below 1.5 Celsius. The global average is closer to 4 tonnes and needs to drop to under 2 tonnes by 2050. There's that 2050 number to stand a chance of slowing climate change. Oh, we're on the precipice. We're at the tipping point again. We're still having that tipping point must be going up a hill because we're never getting over the top of it. But yeah. As Alan used to say as well, put this stuff on a scale. I want to see how they weigh it.
Mm-hmm.
We're told it's rising into the atmosphere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's lighter than air, how can they weigh it?
That's right.
Anyway, What would a pax matter, as Alan would say.
Yeah.
If your carbon allowance was 2 tons, then 2 return flights from London to New York would use up all of it. One flight, right? Reports Devon Live. Ross informed The Conversation that a report by Intrepid Travel predicts the implementation of carbon passports by 2040. I think it'll be quicker than that.
I do too.
He further stated between 2013 and 2018, the amount of CO2 emitted by commercial aircrafts, bad English there again, worldwide increased by 32%. Improvements in fuel efficiency are slowly reducing per passenger emissions. So why don't you just keep doing that? But research from 2014 found that whatever the industry's efforts to reduce its carbon emissions, they will be outweighed by the growth in air traffic. Where is this growth in air traffic coming from? Because people are getting poorer and poorer.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we've got this thing called staycations now, because people can't afford to travel abroad.
That's right.
So where's the increase in travel coming from? Maybe it's all the migrants being flown in. That's got something to do with it.
Everybody that I know, one of my older brothers went somewhere this summer, just a couple of weeks ago, and he had planned to fly, but he was going to be flying into Newark, and they've had all of the, problems there. And so he said, I think I'm going to drive. But we were talking about it, and he said, nobody that I know flies anymore because they've made it miserable to do so. And he said, of course, this is all part of the agenda. They do not want little people going anywhere. I mean, they got to get us into the city, and those of us who aren't in the city will just make it as miserable as possible. In your small town, then you're going to get fined for not mowing your lawn. And, it's just... It's all part of herding us into and making life miserable. But don't travel, and I mean this would be great if they made an across the board. Nobody could could pay their offset. No company could do an offset. No rich man could do that. If they all had to have a little, in other words, equal for everybody. But of course, that's not the point, and that's not what's going to happen. So
no. But I was pushing thought there. Anyway, doesn't matter. So for emission reductions to have any meaningful effect, ticket prices would have to rise by 1.4% each year. Well, they're going up by way more than that anyway. Already discouraging some people from putting out the reach. I mean, however, in reality, ticket prices are falling. Well, that's nonsense.
Yeah,
that's nonsense. Several European countries are starting to implement measures to curb air travel. In Belgium, passengers on short-haul flights and older aircraft are now subject to higher taxes. Well, hold on, who's supplying the older aircraft? It's not the people. Why aren't the airlines being forced to buy more efficient airlines to combat climate change, right? No, can't have that.
Well, and something else that I learned in chatting with my brothers is that the aircraft now are being maintained out of the country. One of my brothers said, "How do they even?" I mean, I'm talking about serious offshoring of airplane craft maintenance.
And they've got to fly them there and back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, France has prohibited short-haul domestic flights where the same journey can be completed by train in 2.5 hours or less, with similar regulations expected to be introduced in other major European countries in the near future. Ross pointed out, it's not just air travel that's being criticised. No, it's not just air travel that's going to be taxed either. But yeah, so if you can get on a train, I mean, we don't have a train station that's we have the freight trains run through, and there used to be a train station here for the public, but it doesn't operate anymore. Our closest train station is an hour away that we can get on to go any meaningful distance, up the state or across the state. So it's just the infrastructure's not there for it at all. For it, and like anybody living in a rural area, there's no chance of getting on a train. You know, I mean, I used to drive as much as possible across Europe because I just could not stand the hassle at the airport. You know, it took me like 2 days instead of one day, which didn't really bother me because it was, I like driving and you get to see things when you're driving. But yeah, that's why I did. I just had, as I've mentioned before, like 13 out of 14 times I left the UK, I was searched, and just get pissed off with it. And so you just get, well, I gave up on it on air travel. I mean, I like flying, but I mean, if I've got an option, I won't do it.
Right. Yeah.
An investigation by the European Federation for Transport and the Environment in 2023 found that cruise ships, here we go, there's another transport, right, pump 4 times as many sulfuric gases, which are proven to cause acid rain and several respiratory conditions into the atmosphere than all of Europe's 291 million cars combined. Statistics like these have forced European destinations to take actions against the cruise industry. So we're going from planes to trains to ships. It'll be bicycles next, I guess. Amsterdam
Wow.
has Amsterdam has prohibited cruise ships from docking in the city centre. Why? Well, I mean, the city centre of Amsterdam is not that far from the coast. And Venice has banned large cruise ships from entering the city's waters. Ross stated, Intrepid Travel's report also highlights that not only how we travel, but where we travel will soon be impacted by climate change. No, it'll be impacted by these clowns making rules that you can't travel. They're the ones stopping you. It's not
That's right.
climate change that's stopping you.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Boiling temperatures will probably diminish the allure of traditional beach destinations. No, it won't. That's why people go, prompting European tourists to search for cooler destinations such as Belgium, Slovenia, and Poland for their summer holidays. I wouldn't be going anywhere near Poland. What's going on over there? You might get a suntan, but it might be from radiation or something, and it won't be coming from the sun. Several travel agencies reported seeing noticeable increases in holiday bookings to cooler European destinations like Scandinavia and Ireland. They didn't say wet, did they? And the UK during 2023's peak summer travel months. No, see, people have gone to all the sunny spots, and maybe they're just looking for somewhere different to go. You know, whatever the solution may be, how about they get out of our lives? That's a good solution. The changes to our travel habits look inevitable. Destinations across the globe, from Barcelona to the Italian Riviera and even Mount Everest, are who goes on holiday to Mount Everest? Are already calling for limits on tourist numbers as they struggle to cope with crowds and pollution. Holidaymakers should prepare to change their travel habits now before this change is forced upon them. Forced.
Yep.
And that's the end of that. But linking to that, what is it? There's this one on pollution, and this is from Newsweek. You can trust them. Over 1 million Americans told to combine errands as alert hits 9 states. And this is millions of people in Southern California have been advised to limit outdoor activity and refrain from burning wood amid concerns about air quality. Never mind the greenies starting the forest fires, that's got nothing to do with it.
No.
Hold on, I've got an ad popped up here and we scrolled. There we go. Air quality alerts have been issued for 9 states as of Sunday morning. When the date on this is. It doesn't say. Oh, no, sorry, it's skipping all over the place here. Trying to get the date. 3rd of August, on my birthday. There we go. Air quality, 9 states to help reduce pollution levels. Why it matters. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, you can trust them, studies have linked particle pollution exposure to various health effects, including respiratory symptoms such as coughing and wheezing, the development of asthma, and increased susceptibility to respiratory infections. Nothing to do with stuff that was maybe stuck into them. What to know? In collaboration with local agencies, the National Weather Service had published air quality alerts for the following states as of Sunday. And it goes on the list of states, doesn't really matter. They're all in the northeast, more or less, and the north. These were issued due to potentially hazard levels of fine particulate pollution triggered by wildfire smoke flowing into the US from neighbouring Canada. In Indiana, advisories affecting over 1 million residents across numerous counties, included, but not limited to, Lake Porter and Elkhart, advise locals to take steps to help reduce pollution, such as avoiding the use of drive-through lanes and combining errands into one trip. Don't dare stop for your burger in a drive-through. Oh my God, the walls will burn. There's more heat in the restaurant you get your burger from than there is outside. Authorities are also suggested limiting vehicle use. Right, so the authorities are suggesting. Authorities don't suggest
until the time when they force you to limit.
That's what an authority is it?
Yeah.
Limiting vehicle use by walking, biking, or using public transportation if possible. That's the caveat, if possible. Well, sorry, I can't walk 10 miles to my local store. I'm not going to bike it either in the snow. And there is no public transport where I live. Simple as that. Air quality alerts have been in effect for parts of the US for multiple days due to Canadian wildfire smoke. In a social media post, well, you can trust him, on Friday, AccuWeather reported that the smoke resulted in Chicago having the worst air quality in the world for several hours and blanketing the skyline in haze. Haze! It's funny because this is AccuWeather. Now, there's quite a few these weather sites, and these market organisers will say, well, we track 2 or 3 of these sites and we come up with our decision. And I said to them, they all use the same radar, right? They all use the same information and they're all saying different things. So why would you trust any of them? And they go, oh, well, we've got to come to a decision. I say, well, you're basing that on false information. Or models. And they're all using different models. So you're getting 3 different results. So but they can't seem to understand that. AccuWeather meteorologist Dan Pitnakowski told Newsweek on Friday, smoke and haze creating poor air quality at times will likely continue to be an issue in the Great Lakes, upper Midwest and central US through the weekend and into early next week. So anyway, it goes on, and different weather people saying the same thing. But basically, what they're alluding to is going to be climate lockdowns, I think. If the authorities are recommending you don't use your car, there's going to come a time when they tell you can't use your car. So in other words, you can't go anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, this is the whole point of familiarizing us with the term lockdown. During COVID, they were, putting out the concept of climate lockdown. This is what a 15-minute city is all about. You can't go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, you walk or bike. They mentioned walking and biking. So that's your 15-minute city transport system.
Right.
Because if you can walk or ride a bike, for 15 minutes, why would you need public transport at all?
Right.
So you ain't even going to get that.
And the whole idea of geofencing, they sold it to us as a way of customizing your ads. So you're walking along or riding your bike and they go, oh, hey, here's a Starbucks that'll pop up on your phone. Stop here and have a coffee. So that's geofencing. But no, geofencing is going to say, wait a minute, you've left your 15-minute city on your bicycle. You're now a quarter mile out of your 15-minute city, and therefore you're losing 100 credits.
Yeah, or a drone strike will get you.
Yeah, exactly, or you're dead.
Yeah, Palantir will sort you out.
Yeah.
But they'll have to change all those signs at all those restaurants from drive-through to walk-through. Now, they'll have no need for a walk-through unless you can't actually get into the premises. Maybe they'll all be walk-through. They'll have a robot just dishing a burger out the window to you.
I don't even think those will exist at all in any form. I think basically it'll be food that's delivered by a drone to your door.
Come on, there'll be a Soma outlet somewhere.
Yeah.
Get your drugs here. Be a Walgreens Soma dispensary.
All right. Give them some hopium.
Yeah, give them hopium. Uh, Hopium for the dopium. Yeah, so that's again, we're Agenda 21. It's this one that's oh, here's another one about cars, right? So this is Tech Times. This is from oh, I'll give you a date. Yep, 30th of July, 2025. UK may require built-in Alcolocks and black boxes in new cars under proposed EU-aligned safety rules. Now, remember, Britain's not supposed to be part of the EU anymore.
Right.
But as I said to my dad when he was voting for Brexit, I said, Dad, you're never getting out. Doesn't matter what you vote for, you're never getting out. They'll say you've got out, but all the rules will still apply. And that's exactly what's happened. They haven't done away with any European legislation whatsoever in Britain. And the migration's worse than it ever was. Labour sparks backlash over plans to align with EU rules requiring breathalyzers and black boxes in cars. This won't stop at breathalyzers. This will be testing you for anything that they don't want. You've had a steak last night, sir. You can't go anywhere. Your carbon footprint, you're over your limit. And they'll probably be able to identify if it's a New York cut or it's a T-bone, you know. And black boxes, of course, are just tracking devices. But they're for insurance purposes, they say. If you're a good driver, your black box will detect it and we'll give you $10 off your premium. But we'll know where you are at every minute of the day. And we'll know who's in your car, what your conversations are, everything. The Labour government is reportedly considering aligning UK vehicle safety laws with the EU's General Safety Regulations 2, GSR2. Again, it's one of these acronyms we could have worked out for ourselves, but they've got to put it in for the stupid people who can't work that out. Which could require new cars sold in Britain to be fitted with built-in alcoholic locks. Built-in, you're not even going to get a choice. I guess it's going to, when you shut the door, it's going to be analysing the air coming out of your mouth. Maybe if you've got too much CO2 coming out, you might not be allowed to drive either. Who knows? Maybe you ran to the car when you're panting a bit. When it goes, no, too much CO2. So they're called Alcolocks and event data recorders, commonly referred to as black boxes. What events exactly? What events? The Department for Transport is reportedly holding talks with car manufacturers and trade bodies on implementing the EU's rules amid official acknowledgement that diverging standards could increase costs for vehicle production and supply, particularly affecting customers in Northern Ireland, because the border doesn't exist there. But why can't the car companies just compete with each other and say, well, we'll do this cheaper or we'll do that cheaper? No. We've all got to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. So all our cars are the same price.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
You know, and so we're going to get down to one standardized car. Mm-hmm. That's it. There'll be one model and it'll probably be a Tesla, you know, or one of those electric things.
But it'll come in 4 different pretty colors.
Oh, well, maybe only 3 if the Homeowners Association have anything to do with it. You can't park that in your yard if it's black, sir. But let's see, this isn't so. Engine interlock devices that prevent the car from starting if the driver is over the legal alcohol limit. Now, of course, that legal alcohol limit has been dropping for years. And at what point does it say, well, you've had too much, or you might have had you might have just it might be your birthday. Your wife might have given you a box of liqueurs, you know, chocolate liqueurs. You eat one of them, you go in your car. You ain't going anywhere. You've had a chocolate liqueur, so you're way over the limit. Well, you'd probably be over the limit on chocolate because that would probably be rationed as well. Black box style event data recorders capture pre-collision data such as speed and braking, automated driver alerts for drowsiness and other risks. An automatic driver alert for drowsiness. What is it scanning here? That's got nothing to do with the breathalyzer. It's scanning your brainwaves. This is what they've got in the Amazon vans, by the way. They've got something like 6 cameras in there, and they test you for drowsiness and all that kind of thing. and whether your eyes are focused on the road or all that kind of stuff. They have cameras detecting all this thing, drowsiness, if you're actually paying attention. So they're the pioneers for this. They're testing it all out in their electric vans. While Northern Ireland already follows GSR2 due to Brexit agreements, many see UK-wide alignment as a further step towards EU regulation. Political row, safety or subterfuge? Critics argue the proposals present a creeping return to EU control. And nothing to do with our control over you. It's just EU legislation. Don't worry about your privacy or anything. Under a Labour government, accusing ministers of prioritising regulatory alignment over genuine British independence. What's that? Headlines in several newspapers have described the move as symbolic of eroding post-Brexit sovereignty. Like, people truly believe that Britain's sovereign, do they? And it's independent? Really? Somebody should ask the Conservative and Labour Friends of Israel, maybe, if they're independent or not. Some commentators further suggest that his shift may be driven more by political symbolism than by practical safety benefits, presenting it as consumer protection in name while quietly rejoining EU influence through regulatory means. Well, they never left it. These are new regulations. Vehicle manufacturers reportedly favour alignment. Standardised rules ease production logistics, reducing costs reducing costs for them, right? And regulatory burdens and preventing a two-tier market for England and Northern Ireland. So the vehicle manufacturers are going to save money, but they're going to sell you this stuff as an extra, which you've got to pay extra for. Right?
Right.
Nevertheless, detractors say additional tech like Alcolocks and recorders would raise the price of new cars, with those costs likely passed on to consumers. Well, surprise, surprise. They argue that adding these features by default moves beyond rehabilitation tools for convicted drivers to intrusive state overseers. Oh, they got that bit right. But they just said it was going to save the vehicle manufacturers money. And the next paragraph says it's going to cost them more. How does that work? Public opinion and counter-arguments. Proponents highlight clear public safety benefits. Alcolocks are already operational in countries such as Belgium, Australia, Canada and Finland, where courts can require convicted drink drive offenders to drive only with an Alcolock installed. Well, I thought if you're a convicted drunk driver, they took your license off you anyway. Right?
Absolutely.
Wouldn't that be they do that. They do that. I think you get something like a 10-year ban or something from driving. So, if they're in a car at all, they're committing a crime, so why do they need this stuff? Anyway, in the UK, Durham Police and National Express coaches have piloted schemes through, though broader implementation remains under review. No mention of Amazon here. A May 2025 RAC poll, RAC is like a AAA poll of 1,763 UK motorists found 53% support allowing courts to mandate Alcolocks. I keep saying airlocks. I've got the CO2 thing on my head. Mandate Alcolocks for convictions, while 56 of those in favour backed mandatory fitting for all offenders rather than just repeat offenders. With more than 27,000 repeat drink driving offenders recorded in England and Wales between 2013 and 2024, road safety advocates argue that court-ordered alcohol interlocks could serve as a practical deterrent, though critics caution against blanket implementation. This is implying that repeat drink driving offenders are buying new cars. Because it's only going to be fitted to new cars. Well, if they want to drink and drive, they should buy an old car. Wouldn't they?
Problem solved.
Problem solved, yeah. We don't need a black box. We've got a 2015 Jeep, for example. With it's got electronics in it, but you can still buy cars now with very little electronics in them and still run perfectly well. Bulgaria is a very good example of that. They've still got ladders running about from 1940s and 1950s.
They'll put an end to that though, pronto.
There'll be a scrappage scheme introduced, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of metal in those cars.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
made them sturdy.
they already did that in the US.
They did in the UK as well.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, a voluntary scrappage scheme, and then
yeah.
people had to take out finance for the new car, and then they couldn't afford to pay the bill and took the car off them.
Uh,
So problem solved, right? There's your
yep.
no cars.
Yep.
Labour's response, economic and safety logic. As if you get logic from any political party these days, eh? Or ever did. Labour ministers say that divergence from EU standards would drive manufacturing costs higher, undermining UK vehicle exports. The UK makes very little vehicles these days. I can't even think of a company that's not owned by a foreign country, like Jaguar and all that is owned by Germany, Volkswagen, people like that. And contributing to wider inflationary pressures. Wider inflationary pressures, they're not bad enough, right? Alignment ensures frictionless trade with the EU and avoids additional tooling or certification burdens for manufacturers. Well, they just said it was going to cost them more money fitting this stuff, but it says it avoids additional tooling or certification burdens for manufacturers. Again, this is supposed to be the logic, but they've already said it'll be more expensive and cheaper at the same time. Officials also emphasised the broad safety benefits of driver assistance systems. So there's your automatic car, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said you'd driven one of them, didn't you? Would it kind of it puts your brakes on and everything without you doing anything?
Well, I rode with my cousin in hers, and my one of my brothers has a similar thing where they do this turn off. The engine turns off at every stoplight.
Yeah,
And it's to save gas and so forth. But I was riding with my cousin in her car, and even if the car feels like you're getting too close to the median,
yeah, it takes you back.
it takes you back. And I'm like, I wouldn't be able to handle that. No.
I drove one of them for a day. I'd rented the car for 3 days, and I drove one for a day, and I took it back to the guy and I says, "No, I ain't driving this thing. Give me one
No,
that doesn't do this.
no,
This is not the way I was taught to drive.
no.
You know, I can't avoid obstacles if this thing's taking me in the opposite direction.
Exactly.
You know, you get this is a diversion away from this, but I noticed I was going to a market I'd never been to before, and so I was using the map on the phone. So I'm driving there, and I'm going along this road where every intersect. I mean, it's maybe 10 miles on this highway. Every intersection, a traffic light, a traffic signal, and you could see on the phone that it knew when the traffic light was going to go red because it was telling you were going to be delayed at that one, that one, that one. The phone knew when the traffic signal was going to change. How's that? What's that speaking to?
Exactly.
You know? And it was right enough. I would get up to the light, red. Next one, red. I got red lights all the way along that road for 10 miles.
Hmm.
And the phone was telling me I was going to be stopped.
Well, that was another thing, my cousin was using some kind of GPS program that would say there's a traffic enforcer or policeman or whatever
Oh, that comes up on
spot.
mine. Yeah, that
Yeah,
comes up on mine
yeah,
too. And it tells me there's an object on the road.
yeah.
Now, okay, there's an object on the road. That's fine. It's it's usually a piece of a tire of a truck or something like that, or a cardboard box that's fallen off or something. But if you're in one of these automatic cars, it's not necessarily going to take you around that object. It's going to try and steer you back into the middle of the road.
Hmm.
I mean, does it know there's an obstacle there, and is it going to try and take you away from it? And you're going, hold on a minute, there's a car coming, when you're fighting the steering wheel.
When you,
That's how I felt when I was driving. I was fighting the steering wheel because it was trying to take me somewhere that I didn't want to go.
yeah. Also, when you think about this technology, you have to ask yourself the question, am I living in a simulation? It's,
Yeah, it's quite bizarre. But no, when I was taught to drive, you were told you had to be in control of the car.
absolutely.
Well, you're not in control of the car if something else is deciding it's going to take you somewhere
Yeah,
you don't want to go.
yeah. Believe me,
Uh,
I will take human error any day over machine error.
oh, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know how it was for you, but I loved driving and I learned to drive young. and I know how to drive, and I pay attention.
Hmm.
And I don't trust that a machine is paying attention in the same way that I am. It's
Yeah.
just not possible.
No, I've driven for what, 45 years or so. I've never had an accident.
Yeah. And I
You know.
actually see I care about my safety. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm invested in
yeah,
my well-being.
I've said to people when they talk about how expensive their insurance is and all that, and I say to them, do you think people would drive better or worse if they didn't have any insurance? And they say, what do you mean? I says, well, do you think if you weren't insured, you'd drive your car a bit more carefully because if you wreck it, you're going to have to pay for it?
Yep,
And they went, never thought about that before. I said, I'll tell you, everybody would drive safer.
that's right.
It'd only be the lunatics with lots of money who'd be driving like crazy people. And if they hit your car, then you take them for everything they're worth. That's got nothing to do with insurance. You just take them to court and say, this guy crashed into my car.
Oh,
And,
no.
oh, have you got a nice house? Yeah, well, I'll have it. Thanks. He put my life at risk and da da da. Or he killed my wife or something, or whatever. You don't need insurance for that.
No.
You need insurance to make the insurance companies richer. That's all. There was no, I mean, insurance used to be voluntary, like everything else.
You just made me think of something. Hang on here just a quick second. Okay, this was a key component, the insurance industry, in the thinking of Jacques Attali, A Brief History of the Future, a brave and controversial look at the 21st century. He said, thanks to the internet, the insurance market also grows. It speeds up the growth of financial systems by covering the principal risks on the principal markets. By 2008, insurance on property and people represents around 15% of GDP in the United States and 7.5% of the global GDP, around 3.7 trillion versus 2 trillion for energy in 2005. And he talks a lot about the insurance industry and how everyone is going to have insurance on insurance.
Mhm.
He said, the bulk of middle and upper class income will be used for purchase of services such as education, health, and security. But most people said more and more people will opt for entrusting their risk coverage to private insurance companies, which to the detriment of nation states are growing ever more powerful. Commercial, digital, and financial exchanges will increasingly take place beyond the reach of states, depriving them of a significant slice of their revenue. And it said to manage all of this merchandise time for the entertainment that you've got on the internet, public administration will be overturned by the use of new methods of communication, particularly of the internet, which will permit the running of public services at lower costs with immediate results. Now, all of these things, when it says public administration will be overturned by the use of new methods of communication, AI, to manage this merchandise time, two industries will dominate, as they already do: insurance and entertainment.
Yeah, I remember Alan saying that.
Yeah, and it's if you've got the book, this section I'm reading from is on page 123 of my version, but he donates a large chunk. Probably there are 20 different entries on insurance and how important it will be. He even mentioned something which, at the time that I read it, I was completely blown away by, but now I actually have seen it in practice, which is insuring your insurance.
Well, that's in case the first insurance company refuses to pay you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what were you insured for in the first place? It's like we're talking about the cars here, right? If they're pushing you towards self-driving cars, why do you need car insurance?
Right.
Who's to blame if it crashes?
Yeah.
It's not you.
No, that should be handled by the manufacturer.
Yeah. Well, in Bulgaria, your car insurance is actually on the car. It's not on the person. Where here, it's on the person.
Right.
So in Bulgaria, you can let anybody drive your car. That's got a license, obviously, but anybody can drive your car as long as they've got the documents for that car. Da, da, da. And if it crashes, it's the car that's insured. It's not the person.
Well, I think there's some things I know that some coverage in the U.S. has similar. If you pay for it, you can have an appropriately licensed driver can drive your car because it is your car that's insured.
Yeah, but in Bulgaria, you don't actually have to tell them who's driving the car.
Ah,
You don't have to have them on your policy. It's just anybody that's legally allowed to drive can drive your car, which is handy. No.
yeah,
But yeah, so yeah, insurance will be insure your insurer. Yeah.
yeah.
I bet it's the same company. A subsidiary. Well, we're insuring our sister company because they might not pay you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we do business with them. Yeah, because we get money out of it.
It brings a whole new meaning to who's watching the watcher.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Nobody.
I know you had insurance on the insurance, but did you have insurance on the insurance on the insurance?
Yeah, we
Right?
know you're. Yeah, we know you're insured. You know you're insured. Yeah, but you're not actually insured. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
You know that I remember. I mean, Alan said this on talks a few times, but he really did not like insurance and the whole concept
No,
of
it's a
that.
scam.
But he said, "Hey, life is a risk." And
Hmm.
hey, that's a pretty easy way of saying, you come in,
Hmm.
you take your chances. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. I bet Bill Gates isn't insured. He's above law. He doesn't have to be insured.
uh,
You know, but it's just I worked in the insurance industry for a while.
did you?
Back in the days where you went around with a book and collected people's premiums in cash. Yeah, and I used to go to some pretty dodgy areas in Edinburgh, and I used to go out in my leather jacket, my jeans, and collect it and hide the book under my jacket. And somebody reported me for not being dressed in a suit. So I said to my boss, I says, I'll tell you what, you go down in your suit and your book and see how you get on. I says, I'm collecting the money. I says, you're getting your premiums in. My book's 3 times overpaid. It was 2 times underpaid when I took it over. And says, that's why. Because nobody knows I'm an insurance man. And he said, oh, well, fair enough. They let me carry on doing it. I mean, when I went to nicer areas, I didn't bother. But when I went to those areas, there's no way.
Mhm.
You get mugged every single day of the week. I said I wasn't sure for that.
Yeah.
Actually, this is another con job. If you work for an insurance company and you're collecting money for them, they charge you higher car insurance because you're a bigger risk.
Really?
Yeah, because you're carrying money
Uh,
for the same insurance company.
yeah.
They don't give you a
Uh,
discount because you're working for them. They charge you more.
uh, I tell you what, we're scammed coming and going.
Hmm. Yeah, but just I guess we could maybe finish on this one. European energy rationing is a dire warning for net zero Britain, and that's just the headline. It is not the responsibility of businesses to make up for the pitfalls of the green transition, right? And at the same time, they're talking about these data centers getting built all over Britain.
Yeah,
At the same time, I
yeah.
mean, well, you minions have to do without because we need the electricity and the water for our data center so we can spy on you.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
And no, even on alternative media, people talking about this, I've never heard anybody explain what they're for. All they're focusing on is the amount of energy and water they're using. I've never heard anybody just saying, "Oh, these things are just getting built to spy on you,"
Right. No.
which is what they're for. Why do we need them? Why did we not need them 20 years ago? Oh, it's all because of AI. Well, let's get rid of AI.
Yeah.
It's clearly unsustainable,
Yeah.
to use their language. You can't take half the country's electricity for something that's going to spy on the public and expect it to be a good idea. And while you're sitting in the dark with a candle trying to read a book. Well, I mean, energy rationing, that doesn't just mean electricity, does it?
Mm-mm.
Food.
It's all energy, all
Yeah.
sources of energy.
Hmm. Which
You
is
know,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I read about a new War of the Worlds that they've made for television, and it looked like the whole setup is how we're constantly being spied upon, but they're putting it out in the open as a good thing.
Mm.
So you know how the story of the War of the Worlds is you've got a little group of people who have to make their way through these, long-legged pod things that are taking
Hmm.
over. And the thing that humanizes the story is the fact that a group of people have to stay together or try to keep together. And the more recent one they did with Tom Cruise, he's got his whiny daughter and his son, and he's got to get them out of the city and blah blah. But it looks like in this edition of it, what they're showing is how the total surveillance culture that we are in is what saves us. So
Oh, yeah.
they're justifying it by showing, oh, look, this analyst,
Keep you
I
safe.
don't, yeah, keeping
Yeah.
us safe. And oh, he saw, there's one of those pod things and it's coming down right over there. And because he's got eyes everywhere in the city, he can guide people to safety. And it's like, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So that's how they sell it constantly. I mean, and it really ties in if you think about it with insurance, because life is a risk. This is the question that they asked after 9/11. Will you be willing to give up some of your rights and your privacy for
Safety and
security and
security.
safety? And
Yeah.
my answer was no. No,
No.
I'm not.
No. No. Well, it's like during the whole COVID racket. I mean, give up your rights for security and safety. No, I'll just walk
Yeah.
down the wrong way in the supermarket. Thanks very much. I know where the beans are. I'm not going all the way around. I don't want to. I don't want to be bumping into people and stuff. I'll just go that way.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I need, get your mask on, sir? No, thanks. I want to breathe.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
no, this
So,
is it. I mean, and people don't think about that. But yes, food is energy and everything is going to be rationed.
mhm. Yeah. Well, we already saw it during the COVID racket as well, didn't we? You
Hmm.
can't buy this. You can't buy that. You know,
Yeah.
you can't buy clothes. Somebody else. I mean, I still see people walking about in masks. I wonder if there's hyping something else on the TV again. I don't know. But I had two ladies come to my booth at a market last Thursday, I think it was last Thursday. Yeah, both had masks on, and they were both walking about with a packet of baby wipes. And
Ah.
before they picked up any pieces of the jewelry, they wiped it with baby wipe.
Ah.
And even when they handed me the card, they wiped it before they took it back off me. I just thought,
Ah.
I really want to sell to you people. And they got the masks on, the mumbling and mumbling. Oh, okay, whatever you say. I don't even know what you said, but yeah, thanks very much. Go away. They spent $10. I was like, okay, I went through 20 minutes of that for $10.
Mm.
Great. And then, of course, I had to go and look at the jewelry. It's all smeared with alcohol wipes.
All
Oh,
right.
great. You clean that up now. It's just the behavior. People's behavior is bizarre. And
Yeah.
then they went over to the. I know the couple that do the dog treats things and the non-rawhide chews for dogs and all that kind of thing. And they're over there picking them up, not thinking twice about it. I'm thinking, what? And and, and he told me, he says, I get shoplifters for my stuff. And I says, yeah, I bet you do. I says, I bet they're dogs. He says, yep. He says, I've got all those chicken feet down the bottom. The dog just comes up, picks one up, and then the people have got to buy it. I says, that's a good marketing ploy.
Uh,
No, but yeah, I didn't give two dogs about dogs. Dogs are okay. But humans, oh my God, can't have anything to do with them.
Oh, mm, I tell you what, no, there's no accounting for how far gone people get with things because they buy the TV programming.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
But how
Now,
can it still be going on this long?
well,
When,
I know.
when you see everybody else not wearing, or the vast majority not wearing masks, they're maybe the 1% or something, and they're still thinking they're normal.
I know. I see a few masks around here too, and I just wonder. I do wonder. Now, you mentioned to me, did the rancher, and I was just curious if you had
Oh, the
seen
beef
him.
guy. No,
Yeah.
I'll see him again on 23rd.
Okay.
They swap people out at the markets to give other
Okay.
people a chance again. But yeah, I'll see him on the 23rd. But yeah, he interesting guy. He was asking me about farms in Europe and stuff, and I was telling him about Holland reducing their farms by 30%, and he looked into that and seen it and stuff. And I just asked him casually. I says, "Do you vaccinate your cattle?" He says, "Absolutely not." I says, "I don't even vaccinate my children." And I says, "Oh, that's good." And then I showed him the Sovereign Independent article that I wrote in 2011 about the forced vaccination, zero carbon solution. And I says, "Oh," says, "You were ahead of the game." I says, "Well, you can see it coming. It's not that you have to be smart. You just have to pay attention." And yeah, so I'll probably get some meat from him. He actually gave me a free sample. He gave me like just over a pound and a half of ground beef, and he gave me a sirloin steak. And I made tacos and stuff with the beef and something else because there's a lot of it. And what a difference in taste.
Really?
Yeah, and the way it cooked and everything, it was completely different. There was nothing chewy about it, none of that you get from the stuff in the store. The sirloin steak, it cooked in about 10 minutes.
So I
No
said,
additions, nothing.
I said to Neil that he said, oh, he may be
A
kind of,
potential guest,
yep,
yeah.
and sort of awake.
Hmm.
So yeah, maybe in the future we're going to talk unvaccinated healthy meat with
Yeah,
somebody that you met at the market.
it is a little bit more expensive, but I'm looking at maybe getting a quarter of a cow or a quarter of an animal, and it works out it's 7.50 a pound. Now
Hmm.
that's going to include some bones, obviously, but 7.50 a pound for unvaccinated, untreated meat is pretty good. Um, and I doubt there'll be much waste on it. So
But,
yeah, I'm going to empty a freezer completely and see if I can fit a quarter cow in it. But I might have to get a bigger freezer, but it'll be worth it. But
well,
it's quite good because he's got a list of stuff you get in this quarter cow or a half a cow. You can buy a whole one if you want, and he lists all the joints and stuff and all this kind of thing. He says, but if you don't want specific joints in meat, I can replace it with whatever you want. So you can customize how much weight. It's a quarter cow is going to be something like 250 pounds or something. So whatever you can make it up to 250 pounds, that's what you'll get. And they do the packaging process and everything, all the butchering. So yeah, I look
mm,
750 a pound ain't bad at all.
no,
I look at the ground beef in the likes of Walmart, and it's just like it's already like $8 or $9 for that
uh,
garbage.
uh,
And you can see it's all sprayed, it's all full of crap.
well, I mean, here's the thing is that so much of life is out of our control, and so much of this agenda is just fully underway. We're in it. It's not like it's coming, it's here.
Mhm.
And I think that the best thing that we can do is, be our own champion, as Alan would say. And that includes how we live and the time that we spend communicating with real people and trying to eat the best that we can and have a
I,
little
I
garden.
I get that all the time at markets. People say, "Oh, do you do online? Do you do this? Do that?" I say, "No, I talk to people."
Yeah.
I say, "I'll talk to face people. I ain't doing anything online."
Hmm.
And they're quite surprised, and some of them say, "Oh, well, that's good." So I think people realise that this whole online thing is they won't use the words anti-human, but they understand it's not quite right.
Right. Right.
So, but without actually realizing why it's not quite right, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But they don't understand it's deliberate.
Hmm.
But, yeah. I did have another one here. It's on a site called Sustainable Living. I'll just do the headline. A group representing energy gobbling data centers wants to be part of a case on FPL rates. This is the Florida electrical companies. They want to have a say on how much they're going to be charged.
Oh, well, yeah, don't we
Um,
all?
yeah,
Don't
I'd
we
love
all?
that. Can I just lobby Duke Energy and say,
Yeah.
hey, look at my bills here. You know, look at my income. This is a bit much. Come on, give me a break here.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, and they'll get their way as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Pointing to just read the first paragraph, pointing to the electricity needed to power artificial intelligence, a group representing developers of data centers has requested approval to intervene in a regulatory case about Florida Power and Light's proposal to increase base electric rates. These people should be supplying their own electricity.
Hmm.
If they want to be sustainable, then they should get your power plant up and running before you build any data centers,
Hmm.
and have your desalination plant on the coast and get your own water.
Mm.
Simple as that. But no, it's not about that, is it?
No, it really is. Quite simply, it's about total control of us. I mean, there's just not a simpler way to say it.
Yeah. Well, they say that these data centers are designed to support the substantial computational demands of the artificial intelligence and related technology industries. I wonder what they are, that the state of Florida seeks to attract. They require a constant, reliable, and cost-effective electric power source to operate their computer servers, cooling systems, storage, and other essential infrastructure, and to conduct their AI businesses consistent with the needs of their customers. Who asked them for it?
Right.
Did you
Right.
ask them for an AI system to help you with the convenience of running your own life? And I'll pay for it. I'm quite happy. If you can make it more convenient for me, I'll pay through the nose for it. Don't you worry about it.
Hmm.
Oh, you're rationing me now. Why is that? Oh, well, the AI center needs it. The data center needs it. You said you were quite happy to pay for it. You know, we're making it convenient for you. You can stay in your house 3 nights a week. You won't have to go anywhere. We'll send an Amazon drone to your house with a 3 week supply of artificial meat. On you go, and you'll be happy. I mean,
Uh,
if people, yeah, and where was it? It might have been Last American Vagabond again. I can't remember. I download all these long talks, like Alan's long talks and stuff for the car when I'm traveling back and forth to market. So that's
mhm.
the only place I get to listen to anything. Um, but they were talking about private military contractors being employed to protect these data centers because they know the public are going to one day realize that these are responsible for not just taking all the electricity and water, but also for spying on them.
Mhm.
So they're going to employ private military contractors to protect them.
Well,
No doubt,
well,
no doubt, no doubt with AI drones and all the rest of it.
yeah, they'll have to. They'll need to. I mean, I've been posting over on Substack. I've been posting some things about the data centers, and they're going in neighborhoods and people, where people don't exactly know what's happening until they're here, and there's pollution and noise pollution and destruction of parks where they like to walk, and not
Yeah.
just wooded areas, and they're like, wait a minute, we moved out here because it was quiet and peaceful.
Uh,
And yeah.
I might have seen the same video. It was an elderly couple that retired, had bought this place. It was all peaceful. It was a nice valley and stuff. And then they got this big data center. I think it was a meta data center. And the guy was saying, like, you don't need lights in this house at night time because the whole place is lit up like Christmas.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. And you see, the thing of it is, Neil, is that these are proliferating. If you just type into your search engine, data centers, big mega data centers near me, you'll be astonished to learn how many are either out there already or in the works.
Yeah. Well, I look at the little lake where I take Jack his walk, and it keeps going down and down and down. And we've had a lot of rain. I'm thinking, there's a a rock sits in there, and I can see the level of water against this rock sitting in there. And in the last week, I'd say it's dropped about 1.5 feet
Mm.
in a week. Now we've had
Mm-hmm.
rain every day.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's hot, but I mean evaporation doesn't happen that quickly.
No.
You know, I can tell that because I've never had to put water in the pool, right?
Yeah.
We've got a pretty big pool here, as I've mentioned before. Just a cash cow, sorry, not a cash cow. What do you call it? A cash pit, a money pit.
Right.
But I've never had to put water in it because I have so much rain. Well, why is the lake going down?
Exactly.
You know, by that amount. I mean, where's that going? And it's not just the small lake either. The big lake's dropped quite a bit as well. So much so that the boats are struggling to get down the boat ramp because it's so shallow at the bottom of it.
All right. So I'm gonna do this. I type this in here because
Well,
I knew
I
I
remember.
knew that. Okay. So here it is. Um, Oh no, it's more than that. It's more than that. I'm being lied to here by my search engine, but it takes an enormous amount of water for ChatGPT to
Mhm.
answer one question.
I did hear somebody say the figure was 50 milliwatt for every question or for every exchange. So if you ask it something, it replies, there's 100 milliwatt. And
Yeah,
if the conversation goes on for who knows how
yeah,
long,
yeah.
you know.
And
So
so if you multiply that across the, states and then across Europe and across the world, I mean, it's taking an enormous amount of water
yep.
every single day.
Well, I've just looked at data centers in Polk County, Florida, and it says there's one in Lakeland, Winter Haven. We've got a proposed one in Fort Meade. Uh, what this is they emphasize disaster recovery capabilities. What does that mean?
Mhm.
I mean, if you have a disaster, are these places disaster proof?
No.
No.
And see, the
But
other thing too is that when people think about AI, the average person is thinking about the conversation with their chat GPT or, their LLM, or they're thinking about the images that are generated or videos that are generated or something like that. But this is being used, it's being used to run weaponry, weapons systems, drones, you know. So it's not just multiply your question across the universe in 1 hour period to see how much water is being used. This is this is a system that is going to fuel everything all the time.
what do they call it? A panopticon.
Yes.
Yeah. It says here the proposed Fort Meade data center campus may supply its own energy generation facility due to the high energy demands. So they're even admitting it in the
Hmm.
local newspaper that it's got a high energy demand, so they have to provide their own electricity.
Yeah.
Now, Fort Meade is it's like a desert with houses in it. You know, so where's the water going to come from?
Yeah. Mm.
You know, I've delivered for UPS down there and some of these areas, and you're literally driving through sand dunes. They call them roads, and people pay property taxes, and they don't even have a road to their house. Everybody down there's got one of these kind of monster trucks to get in and out. It's crazy.
Uh,
But anyway, that's Florida.
well, I think we should run for today. Um,
Okay.
just want to say, well, I don't know what's coming next week, so I can't announce that. But we'll be back next month and we'll try to do a follow up on where we are on harassing our local councilmen and our city
Don't
officials.
don't say harassing on here. Somebody might be listening.
Yeah, exactly.
You might be a knock at the door.
No, I was just a polite query, that's all.
Your local AI drone will turn up. Hey, you're going to harass the city officials. Well, you need to come with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't see me, if you don't hear from me, I'm being re-educated.
Yeah, it was nice knowing you. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah.
All right,
Look,
Neil.
the only one doing
Have
the harassing of the city officials.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Right, until next month then.
All right. I will wish you all well and say goodbye to you, Neil. And that's that.